Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome. If you don't know me, I am Elana Horwich, and I am a teacher of intuitive cooking, and I'm the author of Meal into Spiel, How to Be a Badass in the Kitchen. And we have been doing online cooking classes, and as of late, we have had all of our cooking classes be connected to a charity that supports a cause that I believe in. And so today, you guys all know this, we are in partnership with SUPRMRKT in South Central Los Angeles, and we have Olympia Offset, who is the founder, here with us today. And she is an awesome young woman. I teach people how to be kitchen badasses. She is just a straight up badass, a kitchen badass, and she's a farmer's market badass, a food badass, a revolutionary badass. And I'm gonna let her share some of her story and what it is that she is working hard to create, and what all of you have already helped her create by donating. So, Olympia.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to meet everyone. I hope that everybody is healthy, happy, and safe in their respective places where they are. I'm Olympia Offset. I'm the founder of SUPRMRKT Los Angeles. We are a low-cost organic grocery that makes it affordable to eat well in food deserts. And just for those who may not be familiar, a food desert is a place where it's really difficult to get fresh food. There's maybe a lot of liquor stores, there may be a lot of fast food chains, but when you actually want fresh food, it becomes really difficult for you to get your hands on it. And I experienced that personally. I've grown up in neighborhoods all across Los Angeles. I'm an LA native, and a lot of my childhood was spent in South Central, which South Central is a really big food desert. There's 1.3 million people. There's only 60 grocery stores. Living there makes you 2 or 3 times as likely to die from a preventable disease. But when you're growing up, all you know is that you like fast food and you like junk food and things like that. So it wasn't until I went to college, I went to Howard University in DC, and I started attending these power study group sessions. And each session we would tackle different ideas and different questions about the world and society. And something that came up often was food. And through that, I came to understand that food is very powerful. And it's either the key to our elevation on this planet or our destruction. And because I no longer wanted to see food used as a destructive tool in my community, I became vegan about 11 and a half years ago. And so, you know, just learning about the food system and the disparities that are created by government subsidies and redlining and all these historical situations that are in place led us to create SUPRMRKT in 2016. Since we've started, we've provided about 60,000 pounds of organic produce in the community. We have a nonprofit, Super Seed, which all your donations are benefiting, which will allow us to open South Central's first ever full service organic grocery store, and also allow us to provide the programming that's needed along with the affordable food to help people actually make lifestyle changes. So it is us putting on cooking classes and bringing experiences like this one. It's us putting on vegan festivals. We put on South Central's first ever vegan festival in October of last year. We had about 1,000 attendees. It's also us providing juice cleanses and juice cleanse scholarships for people in need. We've had dozens of people juice with us in our 10-day juice, juice experiences, and we provide the food and the juicers if people need it. And we've had at least 2 people reverse serious chronic medical conditions. So this is really a very deeply rooted effort to create healing in this space. And we're hoping that we can do some really epic, really magical work in Los Angeles that will allow us to bring the same practices across America, because 24 million Americans live in food deserts, and we spend $1 billion in this country every single day on preventable healthcare. So hopefully within the next few years we can fix it. And as you guys know, this problem has been exacerbated by the COVID crisis. There already weren't enough grocery stores. We've seen people lined up around the block, not even 6 feet apart, at the, not even on par grocery stores that are in the communities that we serve. So we really just want there to be an end to this, because this is one problem that we actually can fix. And I'm hoping to do so in my lifetime. So thank you so much for having me, and thank you for everyone that's joining.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
back in my place. Okay, Olympia, thank you so much. You know, something that I didn't share before is that my first job out of college was teaching in inner city Los Angeles. And I remember having a day where I had some extra time. So I went to the market to go do my grocery shopping. And this is a conversation I just had with Olympia a few minutes ago. And I went to the Ralph's and I assumed that the produce and that the meats and everything was going to be the same at the Ralph's as it is on the west side. Oops, I can see that I actually need to fix my camera so I'm not, I'm a little bit cut off. I will do that right after I say this. And the produce and the ingredients that are inside of the market in our inner cities are not of the same quality. I was really, really both disgusted and heartbroken. So this is a topic and a cause that has been really important to me. The kids that were in the school that I was teaching at were already showing signs of diabetes. You know, food is our medicine, and we need to make sure that everybody in our country has access to the right medicine. So on that note, give me 1 second. I'm going to adjust my camera one bit, and then I'm going to be right back. Hold on. Okay, let's see if this is better. Oh shoot. Okay, I'm not cut off. Okay, I was told that I'm not cut off at all, but it seemed like I was from over here. Wonderful. Let's talk about what we're gonna make. This is super exciting. I'm gonna teach you guys how to make the best ever veggie burgers. They can be vegan, and we're gonna make them vegan. So it's a question of whether you use an egg or a vegan egg, and I'm gonna show you what that vegan egg looks like. It's gonna be a quinoa and black bean burger with caramelized onions, and we're gonna make a quick probiotic pickle. And then I'm going to show you how to make my favorite vegan Caesar salad. I actually call it a Caesar salad because it's just something that women love because it takes 1 minute to make. It, you know, you can crunch and crunch and crunch. It's easy, good on the body. So I call it the Caesar salad. Let's get started, and let me remind all of you, or let me let you all know that this is an interactive cooking class. So at any time that you would like to ask a question, please type that in the chat box about the cooking. If you have more questions for Olympia as well, you can put that in and we'll bring her back around when we either have a break or at the end. I'm sure you guys were all totally moved by her words. And let us get started, all right? So first thing that we're gonna do is I'm going to explain that there's a few different steps in the vegan black bean burgers, okay? There's a few different things that have to happen. One is that you need to make quinoa. I went ahead and did that ahead of time, but you are just going to make quinoa. You will either do it in a rice cooker, 2 for 1, 2 parts water, 1 part quinoa, or you will do it according to stovetop instructions on the quinoa that you buy. You just boil it in some water, say 2 for 1, bring it to a simmer, cover it, and let it cook. And then we're going to take black beans, and we're going to need to make these black beans dried out. So we're going to literally, I've already drained them. We're going to dry them out with paper towels, and then we're going to dry them out again into the oven. And then we're going to mix those with some sauteed onion, which we're going to do, and some spices and some other goodies all in our food processor, and then bake those, okay? So that's one thing that's happening. Then we're going to also be making caramelized onions, and we're going to be making the pickles, and then we'll make a salad. So just to know, we're going to have moving parts going on, but that's what's going on. Everyone has the recipes, so you'll be able to follow it, but this is a chance for us to cook together, or at least for you to watch me cook, demo it, and then we're gonna get going. So let's do first things first and get our black beans into the oven. So we're gonna do is take these black beans and put them on a bunch of paper towels. Okay, that is gonna be the way that we're gonna be able to dry them out. So I've already drained them from the cans. If you want to make your own black beans, that's totally cool. You obviously can do that. That just requires more work. So here's and I'm going to use 3 cups of black beans is what I'm looking for. So That's about 2 cans. I'll measure it after we're done cooking them, but I'm just getting them on here and just wrapping them up in these paper towels to just get them nice and dry. Obviously, they're going to continue to dry out in the oven. And these black beans that I'm using are organic. There are also no salt in them, which, listen, to be honest with you, if you can get black beans with salt, you can have more flavor. If you have black beans without salt, you're going to need to add more salt, which we're going to do anyway. We're going to add salt and pepper on these and get them in the oven. So you can just see I'm not being, you do not need to be gentle with these guys. They're literally going to get smashed up into a burger. So, but you can see that even though they're still quite wet. So I'm going to just add some more paper towel on top and really dry these out. So see that's happening. And whenever I have moments of pause, I will be looking over to my computer here, and that is where I can get your questions. So just know that I will get to you. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to take these black beans and just put them on my pan. So what do I have here on my pan is I have a piece of parchment paper. When I first started cooking, I didn't know what parchment paper was. I mean, I grew up in a house, for those of you that don't know my story on here, I grew up in a house. My mom's a Berkeley educated feminist. She didn't want her daughters in the kitchen. She wanted us to be professional women out in the world, not stuck at home. I don't blame her. But what I ended up moving to Italy when I was 20 years old and staying there for 5 years. And what I learned is that the kitchen's a very powerful place to be. But I didn't know what parchment paper was. So anytime I saw a recipe that had parchment paper, I was like, well, I just can't make that recipe because I don't know what parchment paper is. Well, parchment paper this is the one, you get from Costco. It's just a piece of paper that you're putting, that's a cooking paper that you can put on a baking sheet, and it makes cleanup very easily. It also makes the heat, conducts the heat well so things don't burn. I'm going to take these black beans and I'm going to be adding salt and pepper. So the kind of salt that I use normally is a kosher salt. I'm a little bit out of mine, so I'm using a combination of 2 sea salts, but we do not want to be using table salt. Table salt is not good for your body, not good for your heart, and not good for flavor. So get your hands on some kosher salt is going to be the best way to go. And this calls for about 40 grinds of the pepper mill. My pepper mill broke, but I have some freshly ground pepper that I brought back from the Middle East. And so I always go by grinds. I'd say that's probably about a teaspoon. I like a little pepper. I like a little kick. And I'm just going to mix these together, okay? You can always taste one and see how it is. It tastes good. I mean, let me tell you, if nothing else, salt and pepper on everything tastes good. So I'm spreading these beans apart, and I'm going to put them in the oven at 350 for 20 minutes. That said, I put my oven up a little higher because we're doing a cooking class online and have them go, but I'm going to try to really have them dry out and then split apart, okay? That is that. I'm going to get one more thing going for us, and then I'm going to take some questions. Oh, well, actually, I've got to keep this up. Hold on. Let's get all of our pans hot. Okay, so like I told you, we're going to be sauteing onions, and that's going to go into the burger mixture. So I took the liberty of cutting these onions in advance because I just tend to cry a lot from them. But I took 2 red onions. Can you use yellow onion? Of course. Can you use a white onion? Absolutely. I don't know. The idea of black beans and red onions to me feels good. So that's how I went with that one. And I'm cutting it up into pieces. They don't need to be super small because remember, these are going to get pureed into a burger. So we don't have to be that precious with it. And so I have this pan on medium high. And while it is heating up, I'm going to see if I've got any questions from you guys. I love it. This is my favorite time, is when you ask me questions. So please do it. Please do it. If I can get to my question, let's see. Okay, here we are. Let's see. Taking me a second. Forgive me. Huh. I think it's working a little. Okay, so far nothing's come in. It doesn't mean you guys haven't asked. They just haven't downloaded it onto my computer yet. I'm gonna keep going. We're gonna go ahead forward, and we're gonna actually, let's make our pickles. I'm gonna put a pause here. We're gonna have these pans heating for both onions, caramelized onions and burger onions, and let's talk about making our pickles. So we're not making like, you know, major fancy pickles here. These are like quick pickles, but they're really fresh and crunchy, and I love them on this burger. So I'm taking Persian cucumbers. You can use whatever cucumber you want. The reason that I like Persian cucumbers is that the skin is really easy to eat. So if you're gonna use a regular cucumber, I would say consider peeling it or taking off some of the peel of it. Because sometimes those cucumbers with really thick peels, they can be a little gassy. It's a little hard to digest. So, but the peel also has the good flavor. English cucumbers also are easier to eat the peel. So I'm putting these cucumbers in about, in some water, in a mason jar or in a bowl, doesn't matter. And we're gonna just add these cucumbers. Aren't these so cute? Look at this, all right? So lovely. And then, oh, we have a snack. We're gonna add apple cider vinegar. So I just wanna let you guys know, what I teach is intuitive cooking, a little of this, a little of that, but I do write down exact ingredients and measurements for people so that you are not lost at home and you can do it right the first way and then take it from there. That said, I haven't made these pickles in a while. I can't remember exactly how much vinegar I'm supposed to go in there. So I'm gonna eyeball it, but I'm gonna say like a few tablespoons or more of vinegar. All right, so give it some vinegar flavor in there. Now, apple cider vinegar, for those of you who are not familiar with it, the reason that I call it probiotic pickles is because apple cider vinegar is really good for your gut biome. So particularly, like, more is coming out about this pandemic that we have right now, that the stronger your gut biome is, the stronger resistance you have, and that's for all diseases. So, this is a vinegar that is, it's the way that it's fermented is actually beneficial to the flora in your system. So that's apple cider vinegar. And we're gonna sweeten it up and salty it up with some tamari, okay? And tamari is like a soy sauce. So those are just gonna go in here and they're just gonna sit there and we're gonna sit until we're ready for them. Already good, yum. All right, see these? Going to the side. Nadia, let me know. It's 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I think I did about that. I'm confident. So we're gonna move forward and take a look at our onions. So this is nice and warm. If I had olive oil, hold on. And we're gonna add some olive oil to the bottom of our pan. You're adding, this comes out slowly, but we're adding enough olive oil that it really coats the pan generously. And then we're gonna add these onions to it. And those are just gonna give them a little twirl around. And they're just gonna cook until we're ready for them. So we're just gonna give these a little bit of time. The longer they cook, the sweeter they're gonna be. We're just trying to give them a nice saute. And I'm gonna switch pans right now. Well, we'll leave these here for a second and let's work on our caramelized onions. Let's just get some stuff cleaned up. Excuse me. Okay. What is next? All right, an onion. So we're gonna caramelize an onion. In the recipe, I believe I call for 2 onions. You should caramelize as many onions as you possibly can because they take time. And once they're caramelized, they're so good on everything. And you can even take leftover caramelized onions and put them in a blender and blend them up and create like a jam out of it and put that directly on a burger. I'm going to stick to just doing one because the less onions you have in the pan, the quicker they caramelize. So just for time's sake, I'm going to do a little bit less. But believe me, I'm going to wish I had done more because one onion reduces very quickly. And you can just, I cut off the top of the onion, bottom of the onion. I always just make a slice along the side. And I'm gonna open it up. And what I'm gonna aim to do is to cut this onion as thinly as possible. So just, you would like a sharp knife is good for this. So I'm just going, it doesn't matter if they're not perfect rings, it's gonna get caramelized. No one's gonna even know. So you just do your best, about 1/4 of an inch. The thinner they are, the quicker that they will caramelize, the sort of longer they'll go. You can see where that, I'm not getting all the way to the bottom. That's okay, doesn't matter. Now, this is always the hard part with an onion. What do you do when you get to this part, right? Like, see me well? Yeah, I just lay it flat down here. Just make sure it's not in your way. I just put it down flat and then I just start cutting it this way. And then that's how I finish cutting my onions. And okay. So, and then I'll take like this piece like this and just cut it up into thinner pieces. Like mash it. So that's how you get your caramel. That's how you get that done. And I'm going to switch these around. And we're going to do the same thing, olive oil. And we're just going to cook these onions until they are nice and browned and caramelized. And that takes some time. Depends on the heat. It could take 15 minutes. It honestly depends. If you've got 2 onions in here, it's going to take even longer. For those of you that have my cookbook, there's a caramelized onion jam in there with fennel seeds. I wouldn't put the fennel seeds necessarily on these burgers, but I mean, actually, they would be good. I just don't know if because also ketchup. I love ketchup and mustard. So, but that just gives you an example. You'll have the recipe, another recipe of what to do with caramelized onions. They're good on everything. I mean, I even make like gluten-free pizzas in my oven that I'll buy, and the paleo pizza crust, and I don't even do it with cheese. Not because I'm vegan, but I just don't do that well with dairy, and I'll put some of that caramelized onion jam on it, or you can put caramelized onions onto pizza with other vegetables. So we're just gonna give this a swirl. And you guys aren't asking me any questions. I guess it's all kind of obvious up until now. I see a question coming in over here, but it hasn't gotten my computer yet, so I will look at it. And we're gonna let these cook, and we are going to continue. All right. Next things next is let's talk about eggs. So we're going to need to hold, right? You need an egg in a recipe like this because you need to be able to hold the ingredients together. But that's what egg does, right? That's how you put an egg in a cookie. It holds it together. That's why you put an egg in a veggie burger. It'll hold the stuff together. But what if you don't want to use an egg? Now, like I said again, I'm not vegan, but I have a high sensitivity to foods. Like I don't eat a lot of eggs. I prefer to not eat eggs. So I love using this flax egg that I am about to show you. So I made some in advance, but I'm just going to show you how it's done. You take 2.5 tablespoons of water. Ideally, you would actually add the flax seed in first, but I just wanted to give us a little break here. And you're going to add a tablespoon of ground flax. So what else are you going to use flax for? Well, you use it in a smoothie. Sometimes I use it in baking, and honestly, I keep it in my fridge for occasions like this. So I'm just gonna add it together. I'm gonna stir it up, the flaxseed and the water. As you can see, it's really drippy right now, and it goes into the fridge for 10 minutes. And what the result is basically this like gelatinous thing right here. So on this note, let me stir the onions.
There's nothing much happening in the onions right now. Let me move up so you guys can see. But I will show you as stuff happens. There's some browning, but barely anything to show you. I'll show you what these look like. So they're just sort of, these are sweating and getting nice. These could be done like this. I mean, this we would be okay, but we've got time, so we'll let them go. Let's see. I got questions. Let's see this. Oops. It is 2 cans of beans that I am using. We're going to use a total of 3 cups of beans. So I'm going to measure them on the other side. But yes, 2 cans. You're going to need 2 cans. Thank you, Susan Snyder. Doria, my onions are watery. I started cooking before this webinar. Did I use too much or too little of something? Should I put them on higher heat? Doria, are those your caramelized onions? And did you put salt in there? I don't know why they're watery. Did you cut them by hand? Did you cut them with machine? And if they're watery, yeah, just put them up on higher heat. That's gonna like get the water out of there and start to caramelize it. But I don't usually hear of, you must just have it on too low. Molly is asking, my vegan veggie burgers always seem to come out dry, so I'm excited to learn this recipe. Amazing, Molly. I'm curious to know, please type in when you see the difference, what happens. Maybe it's that I'm using more onion in mine, and that's gonna keeps it really juicy. We're also gonna be using some sun-dried tomatoes and olive oil, and so maybe that's gonna be it. Do the burgers freeze well? That is a great question. They do. I actually am gonna highly recommend for everyone that you double the recipe, because it takes a little bit of a process to make it, so as long as you're at it, you might as well just go for it. And then I would bake half of them and I would freeze the batter, not batter, what is it, the mixture for the other half. And that way you can, you know, pull them out in a week and do them, because these are gonna make 6 burgers, but they're light. And especially if you're gonna eat them on a collard green wrap like I am, you will eat 2 of them, you know, and then you're maybe with someone else in the house and they're gonna eat 2, and then you'll have another one each. So, okay, Judy Warner's asking me a great question. Doesn't pre-ground flax use a lot of nutrients? And don't you want to grind flax yourself? Yeah, anything that you can grind yourself is going to have a better nutrient value. I went the easy route. I just don't use flax enough to have something I'm going to be grinding it in, so I have pre-ground flax. So I would say I'm probably not getting the most nutrients out of my flax, but it is going to do the trick for me. Okay. So let's just take a look at our caramelized onions and see what's happening here. You can see that, you see that browning happening at the bottom? That's beginning to happen. So, you know, you might be worried that they could have a little burn. Is that too much? I don't know. I like them nice and dark brown. I'm also tend to move things at a faster pace in a cooking class that's online. Obviously, if you're in my kitchen and we've got 3 hours together, we got 3 hours. But I'm you know, you guys are on the screen and you want to move this along. So yeah, but it's happening. We're just going to go further and more and more and more. Okay. Fantastic. What's next? Let's talk about the ingredients that are going to be going into our burgers. So we are going to be using 3 cups of quinoa, and let's do that right now. So this is my rice cooker. I think you guys can see it from over there. It's called a Vita-Clay. I love it because the insert is clay. So clay is much healthier to cook in than like the fake metal type of stuff. Sorry, let me get this out of the way. The fake metal type of stuff that is like usually the insert of a thing. So it's a Vita-Clay. It's available through my website or on Amazon, or you can use any rice cooker is fine. Now, I went ahead and used multi-colored quinoa. But my recipe calls for black quinoa if you have it. And why do I call for black quinoa? Only because the color, if you have black beans and black quinoa, you're gonna have it look more like a burger. But the reality is that the white quinoa is a little creamier and chewier. So it's up to you, and it's what you have. Like, you don't need to worry about that so much, but I happen to have multicolored quinoa, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm using 1.5 cups of quinoa, and it's gonna go into our Cuisinart. All right. Okay. And that is gonna go back in its place. Let's take a look at these caramelized onions. Yeah, so they're getting a little burnt. I'm gonna lower the heat a little bit because what I really want them is to all get caramelized. But you can see this in here. The back, so you can see that. That's sweetness coming through. Okay, moving it down. So now it's on a medium heat. I had it on like a strong medium high to high. I was just trying to get it rolling. Okay. What's next? So we are also going to be adding into here some yummy sun-dried tomatoes. So there's 2 ways of buying sun-dried tomatoes. It's one if you get them just dried like this, or you get them in oil. Honestly, these are going to be the ones that are easier to find, and we're going to use about 6 of them. So we're going to take out 6 sun-dried tomatoes in olive oil. And that olive oil is going to help us get some of that juiciness that Molly was asking about. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Now we throw in another one. It doesn't hurt. And I'm just going to give them a quick chop just so that I know that they all get like broken up evenly inside the food processor. Yeah. So that's that. Let's add these to there. They're so yummy, by the way. If we're going to talk vegan food for a second, Olympia, I also make vegan quesadillas, vegan paleo quesadillas using these. So I'll take like, you can use any tortilla you want to, but I find these paleo tortillas that I like in siete food. Then I find a vegan mozzarella. The one that I like is from Miyokos. And then I put some of these chopped in there, and I just do it in a pan and flip it over and let it all melt, and it's delicious. And if you have guacamole and something spicy on it, it's like amazing. All right, let's get these caramelized onions. Look, you see it? They're happening. They take their time, but they are happening. And I'm gonna move, and I'm gonna move it over here. I'm gonna let these go lower. Okay. And now let's look at these onions that we've had, and we've had them, let's have them sweat. Amazing. And we're gonna add some spices in here, all right? So we're gonna start by adding smoked paprika. How many of you even have smoked paprika in the house? Probably not many of you. I bought smoked paprika for this recipe. I only use it for this recipe. So, you know, it might be one of those things that you keep. It really makes a really nice touch because it gives it that, barbecue flavor, you know, for lack of a better term. And because everything else we've got going on is so fresh, it's not going to be like a, you know, that strong kind of fake barbecue flavor. It's going to be really nice. And I'm gonna use either a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon, and I've had mine for a while, so I'll just give it the full amount here. And I'm gonna add it into these onions. These onions are the ones that are gonna get pureed into our mixture. And I am also gonna use garlic powder. Now, if anybody knows me, you know that do not use garlic powder. That is like not something that I use. Again, I only have it for this recipe. I'm a fan of fresh garlic, but it works. It's like, it works in here. So, and I'm not using garlic salt, it's garlic powder. I'm putting a teaspoon in here. And I'm adding it, well, it can go either place. Put it right in there. And what else do I need? I think that's kind of it. We don't have any questions. So let's mix this around. And oh, it smells so good. It's so good. You know, how can I, you know, it's like barbecue. It's like barbecue potato chips. That's what it smells like. So you guys can all see here, I'm gonna add these onions in.
and those go in there. And we are going to check on our black beans now. We just create a little bit of space for us. Oh, let's not forget let's just add this now. Our vegan flax burger egg. No, good. Okay, see, it's like gelatinous. You guys can see that? It's like this gelatinous thing. It's gonna go in there. It's gonna help us hold stuff together. Let's get these black beans in the oven. Okay, yum. Woo. Okay, so can you guys see what happens? Let me show you here. Is that the black beans split and they're very dry. So to be honest with you, I mean, I'm not gonna tell you they're the best snack ever, but I mean, they could be a little bit of a snack. I'm just gonna so we're gonna put half of them in there. So the reason that is we want some texture in these burgers. So we're gonna put half the beans in there to be pureed, and the other half are gonna stay with us. So let's just go ahead and, oops. Well, these are gonna be less than 3 cups now because they're cooked, but we're looking at two pans here. Okay, so that's what we're gonna add this in. What else do we need in here? I put a little bit of tamari in. It might need a little bit more salt. We're gonna see, probably will. We'll taste it for salt and add it, but let's get this going. All right, on. I'm gonna keep going a little bit. Oh my God, it smells amazing in here. So let me just give you a show of what's happening. So what's happening here is I have like a very thick oatmeal consistency. I need to taste it for salt, obviously. It works. You know, why does it work? Because I was thinking, how is it gonna be salt? It's because the tomatoes, those sun-dried tomatoes have salt in them. This isn't super salty, but I just added a little tamari. You know, we have some salt on the beans, but it's like perfect. It's so good. And now what I'm going to do is mix it in with the rest of these beans, which I just need to have let's see, somewhere to do that. So why don't we do it right in here? No, it's sticking together. It's exactly what I like. And I'm just gonna add it in. Yum. So good. Okay. Next on the horizon, a little bit, is adding, we always gotta get this out of the way, the rest of the black beans in. Okay. See a few. And these dried out really nicely. And I'm gonna get this out of our way. Get this out of our way. Okay, so Molly, you're asking me if you don't have any sun-dried tomatoes, can you leave them out? It's honestly one of the tricks to these burgers. So what can I tell you? Yes, you can make a burger and leave them out, but since you're talking juiciness and you want that to be in there and that flavorfulness, I'm gonna say find yourself some sun-dried tomatoes before you go through this process of making them. That said, if you don't have sun-dried tomatoes, you're gonna need to add more salt to this. And then, you know, you'll make up with it by adding some organic ketchup on the top. But the sun-dried tomatoes are really actually part of the trick to the trade, because think about it. I mean, quinoa is kind of like bland, and the black beans are, you know, they're black beans, but they don't have that much flavor. The onions are going to give us the flavor, and we have some garlic powder in here and some smoked paprika, but it's those sun-dried tomatoes that are really kind of the amazing thing for us. So I'm just mixing in these black beans, and that way I have texture in here. So it's not just a pile of mush, it's a pile of mush and beans. And we are going to turn these babies into burgers. Okay, so I'm back with my baking sheet. And I'm gonna put more parchment paper on here. And I'm gonna turn these into about 6 burgers. So it's about 1/3 cup per burger. Now, let's just talk for a second on what shape these are gonna be. This is kind of hot, but I like to have my burgers be in a collard green wrap, which means I like my burger shaped a little bit like a football. If you want your burgers, I have done a taste test of these in class, okay, in like an actual real person cooking class. We did them on buns, on whole wheat buns, we did them on pita, and we did them in collard greens. The winners were pita and collard greens. So I'm gonna, you know, show you that you can do it like, I'm gonna just do it for collard greens, but if you wanna put them in a pita, just make them up into circles. And other than that, you're gonna do them into a little football shape here. And these should give you about 6 burgers. And just gonna shape them up. It's not too hard, right? It's not too hard. It is a few steps, but if you're just prepared for it, you know, you just like know you can make the quinoa a day in advance. You can dry out those black beans a day in advance. You can even cook your onions a day in advance. I honestly think I'm going to get more than 6 burgers out of here. I think I might get 7. That's nice. Okay. Let's see. Last ones. Well, we'll just put them in. We'll put them in. Give everyone a little bit more. And there we go. Football shaped burgers. Ready to go. They're good. They're really good. Into the oven at 400. I think for about 12 minutes or so. And we're gonna, well, I see you guys don't have that many questions. I'm gonna show you how to make salad now, but if you do have questions, it's a great time to do that. And we're gonna make our salad. I'll show you the caramelized onions, answer questions, and then we're gonna come back and eat these burgers. Or I'm gonna eat these burgers, but I'll show you how to put it all together. Make them so yummy. Okay, so, hold on, I just gotta create a little bit of order in here because you're looking at a big mess. All right, that's gonna just have to get cleaned later. All right, so. This is my vegan Caesar salad. I have already given you an introduction to it. It has, I think, 4 ingredients, and it's one of my favorite recipes because I eat it actually often as a snack. I think women tend to be grazers, maybe more than men. We sort of eat a little bit and then we come back and we eat a little bit more. And this is a salad that literally takes 2 minutes to make. And I invented the recipe because I think all I had in the house was some hummus and some romaine. And I was like, well, that's just turned that into a dressing. So it's not going to taste like a proper Caesar salad. It's going to be different. And we're going to start with, I'm going to show you how to make like a serving, one large serving or two smaller servings, but you could easily double, triple, quadruple the recipe. We're going to take romaine. You don't even need to cut it, okay? Just rip it apart into pieces and, you know, put it into a salad bowl. Or any bowl for that matter. All right, and there we go. We have beautiful romaine in here. The next thing that we are going to add is some olive oil. So let's just get some extra virgin olive oil, and you always want enough to just coat the leaves, you know, but you want to make sure all the leaves are coated. And we're going back to two of our very good friends in the healthy food department. That is apple cider vinegar and tamari. Tamari is a wheat-free soy sauce, but I didn't say that earlier. So I'm going to add some of both of them. And we'll taste it. I know I have the right amounts for you guys written down, but like I said, when I make things for myself, I just pour a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and a little bit of tamari or soy sauce. And last but not least, is going to be a dollop of hummus. And you get to choose how much hummus you want in here. You know, if you want it extra creamy, you can go for more. So I'm just going to put like a dollop like this in here. We'll see how creamy that gets. This looks like some nice hummus, actually. I got it at my health food store at the Santa Monica Co-op. It's a fresh, vegan, traditional, gluten-free hummus. And let's see, and we're going to toss it. I have taught this recipe in some of my first cooking classes, and it has been like, you know, the kind of thing that people are still making 7, 8 years later. So the simplicity of it is the beauty of it. This is literally just like a go-to. You walk in the house, you have nothing. You can always have hummus, and romaine stays in the fridge for a long time too. So it's just a great thing to have. And we can see that it's coming together and it's nice and creamy, and I can taste it and see what it needs. I love it when I make it perfect. Hold on. Okay, so I've got questions here. Okay, so I've got a question about this, which is, what if you make your own hummus? Pam wants to know. You can make your own hummus. Absolutely, Pam. There may be a recipe for hummus on my website. I'm not sure, but you need garbanzo beans, and you need tahini, and you need lemon and a little garlic. But yeah, absolutely, I am down for that. I see other questions that Olympia, I saw that you're on board for the co-op. I'm a lifetime member of the co-op. That's my place. And then I'm going to add toasted sesame seeds on top of here. And, you know, look, there's two ways of buying sesame seeds. One is that you buy them Japanese style, like this I get from the Japanese market, or you get them at the health food store where they call them gomazia, or you get them at a regular market and they'll probably look like this. But you want them toasted. And I love sesame seeds on everything. I put it honestly on almost everything, because it's really, not everything, but like, you know, when I'm eating healthy food, on top of my quinoa, on top of my salads, on top of avocado, because it gives you protein and crunch and flavor in a really delicious way. Let me get these, oops, hold on. I'm looking at my caramelized onions, and I want to get them rolling. And so let's serve this and make that look pretty. I did it in a glass bowl for you because I wanted you to see what was happening, but it's also a very beautiful salad that you can serve in a nicer plate and, you know, impress people. I mean, how lovely is this? By the way, if I were to eat this at home, obviously I'd probably eat this whole thing right out of this glass bowl, but so lovely. We have a beautiful vegan seize her salad. So there we go, side dish prepared. Let's take a look at our caramelized onions. Judy Werner had a question for us, which is, would these hold up on a grill? Judy, I do not think so. I just don't think so. I think they'd fall apart. I think if you had a way to put them on a plank or something on the grill and cook them inside there, that might be really nice, but I don't know. I don't think you can put these on the grill. So here's my caramelized onions. Some are brown, some are less brown. I had turned them on low. See, I like them nice and like brown like that. That's like the way I like them. But I'm just gonna, I turned up the heat a little bit right now, and we're gonna just check on our burgers. I think they're gonna still need a few minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna give them another couple minutes. Okay. Oh, how often do I make my own hummus? Pam is asking me. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that, Pam. I don't make my hummus that often. We have a minute, so I'll answer this question about making hummus. Here's the thing: if you want to make homemade hummus, the trick to it is that you need to use dried garbanzo beans, not the ones from the can. And I find that I often make, when I buy dried garbanzo beans from the market, and I go home and I soak them overnight, and then I cook them, they still don't soften. So then I have found, oh, I have to go to the Persian markets where they have a lot of turnover on their garbanzo beans, and that's where I can get garbanzo beans that will actually soften. So I don't make it that often. I do it when I have a big Israeli dinner or teaching an Israeli cooking class. What I do like to buy, though, in hummus is I like to buy raw hummus. Like, I like to get it at the health food store. I do not buy like regular hummus. I like a raw, clean hummus. And yeah, and you can do that with a can of garbanzo beans and tahini and lemon and garlic and do that. Okay, we're just almost there. I was given a note on the time, but we're almost there. Let's take out these burgers and take a look at them. Okay. My suspicion is that they're slightly undercooked, which all that means is that they might not hold together as well. There's no egg in here and everything's cooked, so it's fine. But oh yeah, they're gonna be fine. By the way, if your burgers do fall apart, it doesn't matter. They're gonna be amazing. So let me figure out the best way for me to do this. So I'm gonna put this on the side. I'm super excited. All right, I get to eat a burger now. A plate. You need a plate. You probably have plates. Then you're gonna take a collard green leaf. You're gonna cut off the base of it. Collard greens are lovely for wraps. You know, one of my favorite ways to do wrap, we're talking about hummus, put a little hummus on there, a little bit of olives, you know, some sprouts or anything else that you have, sun-dried tomato, just wrap it up and eat it. So yummy. Excuse me. So I'm gonna take a burger and I'm gonna lay this down here. So nice. And I am then going to, where do I even start? Okay, I've got ketchup, but let's be honest, guys. It's got to be organic ketchup. Otherwise, you're just going to put more junk in your body. Not to say that this is super healthy, but every once in a while, a little organic natural ketchup is okay. This is Annie's, and I'm going to add a little ketchup. You don't like ketchup? Keep it out. And then I'm going to go with Dijon mustard. Let me see. Just go right in here. Put a little Dijon on it. That's a little bit a lot, but okay. I'm going to mix that in. And what's next? Where are we going to go next? Let's go to our pickles. Remember these? Remember these from just a few minutes ago? Right? I'm just going to go with my fingers. And I'm going to lay some pickles on here. Well, actually, I'm going to do the pickles on the side. Let's put the onions first. Make prettier with the onions. Get another. Okay, so I've got these caramelized onions. Look at this, so pretty. And they're going to go right on top here. Sorry, I got stuck in my drawer here. And you know what? I'm like, maybe I do want I'm trying to make them pretty for a picture too. I'll put the cucumber on the bottom, the pickles first, then the onion. All right, and then you wrap it. Now, I'm looking at it, this collard leaf is a little bit smaller, like this one is a little bit bigger. So maybe it's gonna be open face. I don't think a lot of us are upset with that. This is a fabulous vehicle. Look at what's happening in here for your mouth. I've got a question. Bring in your questions now because I'm going to eat and then we'll say goodbye. Oh, Okay, great. Someone's asked me, my book Jane has asked me, is my book exclusively vegan recipes? This is Meal and Spiel, How to Be a Badass in the Kitchen. It is not exclusively vegan recipes, but it is very plant forward. And it is, of 110 recipes, I think 70 are vegan, 90 are gluten-free. And I'm the kind of cook that doesn't put, there's no pork in here at all. There's no like meat in your vegetables. So there's like lots of vegan options. It's Italian food with California healthy cooking. And there's a whole chapter on, I can't believe it's not pasta. So you can have pasta dishes that have vegetables as noodles. So that is that. And I want to let you know that if you buy my book from my website today, 20% of the proceeds are going to go right back to Olympia in Supermarket. And I was going to wait to the end to say this, but I would love to put a signed copy into anybody's hand. And if anybody wants to up and give a full donation of $250, so you can take out what you've already paid to come to this class, I will send you a free signed copy, denim covered, 500-page, 4.5-pound Meal and a Spiel to your house. And if you already have one and you still want to donate more, that's fine. You can give this to a friend. It makes a fabulous housewarming gift. Next is, oops. The recipe says 425 in the oven, but I said 400 degrees, which is the correct one. The correct one is what is in your recipe. Just do what is in your recipe. That's what's been tested. Like I said, I don't make this all the time. I knew that it needed to be like a hot enough oven. And so do 425. Plus this oven I have now is like super hot. So that's going to be, stick to what you've got. It is correct. And cooked collard greens, I would not recommend doing cooked collard greens. I would recommend doing them raw. I think cooked is just gonna fall apart and break. But let me taste it for you, tell you how it is, right? You gotta give me, It's so good. You do not miss burger at all. And what makes it so yummy is that these different flavors, you have the freshness of the pickles, the caramelized onions. To be honest with you, I didn't get a bite with a lot of caramelized onions. I just got a little bit. I would like a lot. That's why I have you make twice the amount. But so yummy. I'm so excited for you guys to make this. Let me see if I've got more questions from you. And people are thanking me for learning about Supermarket. I'm so glad. Thank you guys all for joining and for supporting. And look into your email soon. I'm gonna be having some announcements and some free stuff for you guys. So just be sure to check your emails for me coming up. Not immediately, but soon. And just thank you for being here. I want to just send everyone love. And Olivia, if you're still there, you can come on and say goodbye to us. And if not, send everyone love. Thank you so much for being here.